Quite a lot of questions arise regarding the transition to veganism among athletes and people who work out consistently in the gym. How do I get enough protein? Will I be able to gain muscle mass? Will I be hungry all the time? Will I have enough energy? Questions like these and more came to my mind before I thought of veganism as an option for me. So today we're going to talk practically what you need to know when you transition to a vegan diet. First, before everything, let's talk about getting enough calories. There's a little bit of a learning curve here when transitioning to a plant-based diet. So a lot of vegan foods have a lower calorie density when we compare it with animal products like cheese, meat, and so forth. So you'll need to get familiar with the calorie content of new foods you're now eating. This can be easily done though. I suggest tracking your food for a week or two to give you an idea of how much you're actually eating. I know it can be annoying to count calories, but we often over or underestimate how much we really eat, and by a lot. So Cronometer is a great tool that will help you with your goal. Whether you want to gain muscle or lose weight, it will break down what you need calorie-wise, along with protein, carbs, and fats. In order to meet your calorie intake, depends on your goal, you may need to be eating more food than you're used to. Now let's answer the common question that usually comes up: aren't you hungry all the time? So most cravings and hunger feeling come from three things. So the first one is not eating enough calories. So this one we solved. In the case that you say you're hungry all day, it's likely that you're underestimating the amount of calories you're eating. On a plant-based diet, you may feel like you're eating a lot, but not knowing how many calories you're taking in might be an issue, because it can be the reason why you're hungry all day or while you're missing certain nutrients in your diet. You should feel satisfied for at least a few hours after a good meal. Second, not being used to the lightness you feel after a vegan meal. So animal products are very difficult for our stomach to digest. Our body has to work harder to break them down, and it's very common to feel heavy after a meal. When we make the transition, then everything we put in the mouth is easier to digest, like fruits, vegetables, legumes, so it feels lighter. And some people are so used to feel heavy after a meal that they connect that heaviness with feeling satisfied. So it might take a little while to adjust and get used to the different feeling in the body. And third, not getting enough of certain nutrients. For example, when I didn't eat enough sodium in my diet for a few days, I started craving processed food that I haven't had in years, like potato chips, salty cheese, and more. And why those specific foods? Simply because my body knows the salty rush I used to get when I ate those foods. So I paid attention for my sodium intake for the next few days, and the craving went away. Now this brings me to my next point, and this is to focus on whole foods. Another common mistake is relying on processed vegan options like fake meats, different types of vegan cheese, ice cream, and so on. And it can be easy to fall into the trap of vegan junk food. Now, these are okay to eat when you first begin your journey and you're still adjusting your diet or eating it in special dinners, events, but it is highly recommended not to base your diet on those, not to rely on those simply because they're still processed. A lot of these products contain preservatives, sweeteners, salt, oils, and more, and they don't provide a lot of essential nutrients in your diet. If you still want to have those as part of your weekly meal plan, maybe search for the options that are less processed or have the least amount of artificial ingredients in them. But you want to stick to whole foods, nutrient-dense foods as much as possible. That way you can know exactly what's in your food, you can easily avoid unnecessary deficiencies and feel your best. There are lots of great and delicious whole food, plant-based recipes online to help you get started. In addition to that, every year or so I make sure to do some blood tests to see that everything is in place. And I actually recommend this to anybody, not just for vegans. I haven't had any deficiencies for years now, but if you do have if you do experience a deficiency, you can simply eat more foods that contain what you're missing or supplement with the needed nutrient. As for B12, this is needed for anybody, not just for vegans. I have family and friends who are not vegan, and a lot of the time they have low B12 and iron levels. So it's not the diet itself. This vitamin is necessary for everybody. So I supplement with liquid B12. the methylcobalamin form every few weeks. Make sure it's the methylcobalamin form. It is better absorbed. The cyanocobalamin is a synthetic form of vitamin B12 that's not found in nature, and it's cheaper. This is why a lot of supplement companies use it. And I also supplement with liquid vitamin D, especially on days when I'm not exposed to the sun much or in the winter time. This again is for everybody. If you don't get enough vitamin D, if you're in an office or in the house most hours of the day, maybe consider supplementing with vitamin D too. Now let's talk about protein. Will I get enough protein? Plant-based foods are incomplete proteins, right? So these are usually the main questions that come up when thinking about a vegan diet. The myth of incomplete protein in plant-based foods has been busted a long time ago. In fact, I'm sure I'll make a separate video just on that topic by itself. But for now, you need to know that complete plant-based proteins do exist, and you don't have to eat beans and rice together or even at all. There are lots of other sources to get enough protein on a vegan diet. Many plant-based foods are filled with all the essential amino acids. Plants use the same 20 amino acids that we and all the animals do to build their proteins. To fail to reach your protein needs, you'd need to either not eat enough calories or eat a very limited diet, for example, living only on bananas. But no one lives like that. As long as you're eating enough total protein and incorporating some diversity in your sources, you should be covering your essential amino acids needs. Another concern is whether it will be more difficult to build muscle on a plant-based diet. But a lot of people forget that muscle growth is stimulated by resistance training, not protein intake. The body will need amino acids to supply the building blocks for the muscle growth and recovery after the workout, but it has nothing to do with the source of the protein. Plants have all the essential building blocks that your body needs. Keep your training routine, lift heavy, push yourself, and eat whole foods, and you'll have no difficulty building muscle. Our protein needs are far lower than what the fitness industry is usually pushing us to consume. If you feel like you want to have more protein in your diet, you can always consume higher protein foods or supplement with a vegan protein powder. There's a selection of products out there, but it's not a must. For convenience reasons, it can be a good option for you. Protein should have the same place that other nutrients have in the nutrition arena. It's definitely important, but it's not above all the others. Our body needs a large variety of macro and micronutrients in order to function properly, to grow, to heal, and maintain all the organs and tissues in the body. And finally, another hot topic, let's talk about macro ratio. There are lots of different macronutrient ratios and approaches on a vegan diet that people follow, and it's working for them. I know people who go for more high carb, others do high protein, and others high fat, more like a keto approach. So all of these are possible on a vegan diet. You can simply set macros and calorie goals on Cronometer or other food tracking app and start adding foods or adjust your food choices to see how they help you reach your target. Personally, I switched my macros when transitioning to veganism, and it improved my fitness and health in so many ways. So before being plant-based, my percentages were around 30% protein, 45% carbs, and 25% fats. Now it's on average around 12 to 18% coming from protein, about 15 to 20% comes from fats, and the rest is carbs. And I feel great on that ratio. I consistently see results in the gym, I recover faster, and by the way, it's easily reached on whole foods, so you don't have to stress too much about it. Following a vegan diet is not complicated, it just takes some adjusting time. You can follow the same macros and calories you used to by eating plant-based, and nothing will change. Not negatively anyway. I noticed so many benefits after I transitioned, from better recovery to lighter feeling, my asthma is gone, clearer skin, less bloating, and more energy overall during the day. And this is also something that you should pay attention to and see the positive effects it has on your body. This is it for this video. If you have any other questions or topics you'd like me to cover, comment down below and let me know. I'll see you in the next video.